Hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you never run out of content ideas again. I'm Penny, and I'm going to be your guide through this unique creative content development process. I'm going to teach you how to create more engaging content. And I mean the content that you want to post, the content that feels good, the content that's going to help you reach more qualified customers online. And if you want to learn more about creativity and how this can help you develop your content marketing plans, I would love to see you hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And below in the description box, you are going to see a couple of links. The first link you're going to see is for my book called I Just Did a Thing. And in my book, I go into a whole bunch of deep dives, details about the science behind why tapping into your creativity helps with your content creation. And the second link that you're going to see is so that you personally can subscribe to the Create Your Business program and personally go through this process of developing remarkable content. And I'm going to show you how to experience creative activities and tap into that right side of your brain and how all of this can come together to create some amazing content that's going to help you really grow your business and take it to the next level. So today's video, we're going to continue the conversation about your goals. We're going to talk about goals and social media metrics. And I want to get real specific today. And so I am going to share with you 7 actionable steps that you can take. And it's just more than just writing out a list of goals, but steps that you can do that will help you implement and actually achieve your goals. So let's get started. And as we're heading towards fourth quarter, the end of the year, my goodness, where did this year go? It's amazing how fast the time goes. I'm telling you right now, as I look around on my social media posts, I look in LinkedIn, I look on Pinterest, I look at my Instagram stories, there's a ton of stuff out there right now about reworking your business strategy plan. And some people are even starting to talk about 2024 and what's going on with your business. I see people back to promoting date books, life planners, personal organizers, and don't even get me started on the tons and tons of free stuff, free printables that's out there, especially on Pinterest. They help you plan everything from like your weekly schedule to goal setting to just tracking your blog's page views. So before you start to sort through all of these planning options out there about what you want to buy or what you're going to download, I want you to take a step back and ask yourself, what do you want to accomplish with your marketing strategy? What goals are you trying to achieve to grow your business? What goals are you trying to reach to make the end of the year even stronger than when you started it? Because it's really, really good to have monthly goals. And it's even better to have a plan in place for how your business uses social media. And all of this stuff is super, super important for a strong strategy if you want to really see real, tangible results, right? So where do you even start with this? Where do you even begin? And like I said, it can't just be, getting out a piece of paper or pulling up a document in Google and say, okay, let me write out my list of goals. It's got to be more than that. Because, there's obviously, the obvious stuff that we start, social media stuff, goals, online opportunities. But is that really the best place to get this strategy thing pulled together? Let me tell you, my friends, no, not really. The best place for you to start is to focus on what I call your final outcome. The final outcome is something more substantial. It's something like the goal to grow the traffic to your website by a certain percentage, being very specific. A plan to set the foundation so that you can launch your next coaching program, or if you've created an online product. Your final outcome could be increasing the reach, increasing the number of people that you reach, the people who know who you are and what you do. That's what I'm talking about. Not just, oh, I need to be on Facebook, or, oh, I think I should be on Instagram. I think I want to start TikTok. That's not what I'm talking about. I want to talk about, where is the end place that you want to go? What is the goal of why you're even creating this marketing plan and the strategy to begin with? Because if we think about your goals for your strategy, we think about it much more in the sense of being very specific, something that you're going to work towards, something that is meaningful, something that's intentional, and something that you can move through a process with purpose, right? So let's walk through these 7 actionable steps that I want to talk about. And I want to take you through these ideas and these steps, and I want you to pull from it what works for you. And I want you to think about how you can create your own strategic planning process. So before you even begin any of this, I want you to find a quiet spot. I want you to go someplace where you're not distracted by the television. If you happen to be on your phone listening to YouTube and listening to me right now, don't pull up anything else. Just listen. And I want you to take some notes. I want you to think about all this stuff that I'm going to start telling you about. And I want you to think through it and start coming up with what a strategic planning process looks like for you. All right? So number 1, obviously we're going to start with your final outcome. What is it that you want to achieve with this goal? I want you to think about this and describe this in detail. Describe your goal. Like, how many people do you want to sign up for your course? How many sales do you want to make? How many page views do you want to get every single month? What do you want to see happen with your business, or maybe even your blog for that matter, to get to that final outcome? Whatever it is, just write it out. Just put it all together. I can honestly tell you, I am personally going through this process myself. And the first place that I started with was income. I wanted to make a certain amount of money. And so when I planned this out, I thought, how am I going to get here? How many of X product do I need to sell? How many of Y product do I need to sell? How many of this product do I need to sell? And how can I get to this goal? And so then when I had these real numbers, I needed to sell 35 of this. I needed to sell 10 of these. I needed to sell, being very, very specific of these particular products. Now I can go back with my strategy and say, how can I reach, selling 35 units of this? How can I reach and get 10 new coaching clients this month? So that's what I mean about being very, very specific and detailed with your goal. Because when you can start from that place, it gives you a focus on what you're doing. And it's not just about, oh, I'm just going to, do a whole bunch of Facebook ads. And then I'm going to do a whole bunch of stories on Instagram. And then I'm going to do a whole series of videos on TikTok. And those are all really, really great steps. But that doesn't happen if you don't know what you're moving towards. So that was it. The number 1, the first thing that you want to do is describe in detail what your goal is and get specific, just like I did. I had like real numbers that I'm working with. So number 2, the second thing that you're going to do is review where you are right now, not where you hope to be with the goal that you have in mind, not what you think is kind of sort of going to happen in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, or whatever. Where are you right now? So let's take a look at this. I want you to think about this. Think about your marketing plans. I want you to actually dig in and do some work here. See which of the social media platforms makes sense for your goal to happen. Which one of the social sites has the most engaged community? Which one of the social sites do you realistically have time to grow and build on to connect with more people? That's a really important piece right there. Realistically, you cannot expect to set up a YouTube account and then just post a whole bunch of videos and expect in a month that you're going to have, hundreds of thousands of people viewing your content and even, subscribing to your channel, unless you're just somebody amazing who's got, a high-end influencer who already has a following. I'm talking about those of us who are small business owners, those of us who are still out there trying to build our businesses and really grow our communities. So think about that. Which social site can you realistically have time to grow and build on to connect with more people? And out of all those social sites, all of those platforms where you spend your time, which social program is actually bringing you website traffic, is actually showing you some results, is bringing website traffic, is making sales, is connecting you to clients? Which one of those? So it's super important, all of these types of things together when we think about where we are right now. And I want to touch on this really quickly, that when you start looking at these numbers and you start thinking about engagement and you start thinking about posts and you think of, like, you're looking at your insights, looking at your analytics, do not spend an enormous amount of time thinking about the total number of followers that you have. To be honest with you, followers are just like a vanity number. And it's going to take more than just a bunch of random people following you to make your goals happen. This step right here, where you are going to review where you are, is more about getting an assessment of where you are right now and what you need to do to get you to where you want to go. Very important. That line is so super important. I'm actually going to repeat it again. When you review where you are right now, all those questions that I asked you about your social sites, this is not about, the followers. It's about engagement. It's about the insights. It's about the analytics. It's about knowing which sites are actually creating website traffic, which sites are connecting you to customers, which sites are generating growth in your community, meaning growing your email list, things like that. So this step is more about getting an assessment of where you are right now and what you need to do to get you to where you want to go, to that goal that you described to me in the first step. All right, so step number 3. So now we know our goal. We've got a full assessment of what's going on with us right now. The third step is you're going to do a brain dump of ideas. Loads and loads of brain dump ideas. And if you need some help, I have got a video that I'm going to include below for you to help you actually create brain dump ideas that can turn into actionable things that you can do. So look down below in the description and you will see a link to that video. But this is what I'm talking about. These ideas are the ones that are going to be very specific to you reaching your goals on your social sites, your email lists, the content on your website. And when you're writing out your ideas, don't judge them. Don't think about, oh, well, that's a really great idea, but I can't do that. Say to yourself this: if money, time, or I've seen other people do this before, doesn't matter, what would I do? What would you do? Because these initial ideas are just about getting your mind thinking about the steps that you're going to take to reach your goal. And if you're still struggling and you don't know, you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. One of the best things that you can do to do a really, really good brain dump is set a timer for 5 minutes and just write. Put at the very, very top of that and write out, what could I do to reach my goals? With the idea that time and money and others before me don't really matter, And I want you to just write whatever comes into your head. And see, the thing about the 5-minute brain dump, it doesn't give you any time to make any judgments about your ideas. And you can't go through this whole process of, well, I don't really like to see myself on camera. Well, I don't really like to do this. Nope. You have 5 minutes. You only have time to write. So the third step is doing a brain dump of your ideas. Now, the fourth step is very, very much connected to step number 3. And the fourth step is to take your list, either if you've done a 5-minute brain dump or if you've actually spent a little bit more time coming up with a whole laundry list of ideas. What I want you to do on step 4 is to give yourself some distance from the brain dump and give yourself some time to sort through these ideas. I usually give myself at least 24 hours. Sometimes I can do this for a whole weekend between the time that I do the brain dump and then when I pick it back up again. Because what happens is this: during that downtime, during that point between when you first wrote everything out to when you make the decision about what you're going to take action on, your mind, this is really true, and you don't even realize you're doing this. And when I say this, you're going to go, oh my God, I do this. Your mind is going to start to fixate on at least one, sometimes 2 of these ideas. And during this downtime, you're going to be thinking about this. And you're not just going to be thinking about the idea. You're going to start working through all of the angles. You're going to say, oh, I could do this, or if I could do this, I wonder if I should do this, or I could do this. There's a program out there that I could do this. And you're going to find yourself kind of narrowing the whole list into something that's really resonating with you, and you're going to start working through the angles of how can I make this work? How can I get this to happen? How can I get this to happen? So when you actually come back to your brain dump list, when you come back to your idea list, you really have got a good understanding of what's really connecting with you, what's feasible for you to handle, and then all the other things that are connected to it that I guess complement. That's a good word for it. They kind of complement each other. And so it's not like you're doing one thing and then something has nothing to do with another. When you give yourself this downtime and you give your brain the opportunity to kind of, I like to use the word marinate because that's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm marinating in it. You give yourself time to marinate in it. Not only do you start to work through it in the sense of how to make it happen, you start to get to take something called the endowment effect. And the endowment effect is when we take ownership to something. And when we begin to take ownership of something, we become more physically, emotionally, and mentally connected to this idea. And so it makes it easier for us to move forward on it. And it also makes it harder for us to come up with excuses. So I want you to think about that. So number 4 is to give yourself some distance from the brain dump and give yourself time to actually work through your ideas and to see what's coming to the surface as something that you truly want to use and want to do and want to implement so that you can help you reach your goals. Okay, now number 5. Number 5 is now we're going to start taking some serious action. Number 5 is you develop an actionable plan. You give yourself specific steps for those top ideas from the brain dump. Because each action should have a specific outcome. And each outcome needs to have some sort of successful measurement. So you also want to define how each step will be measured. How are you going to measure your Facebook ads? What is going to be successful to you? How are you going to measure whether, an Instagram stories series has been successful to you in driving people to your website? You'll check your Google Analytics. Do you need to use a specific social media site to monitor the program? These are all the things that you're going to think about. So when you're developing this action plan, it's not just about, okay, we'll do this and we'll do this and we'll do this. You also want to make sure that everything that you're pulling together can in some way be measured, because it's so super important for the measurement to happen, because that way it allows you to assess if it's working, or if it just needs tweaking, or if it's something that sounded like a really, really great idea at the time, but it's not working. So you want to add a note to each idea about how you're going to measure its effectiveness. So it's not just about creating this plan of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to create this video series, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. You want to make sure that all of these steps, all of these things that you're going to be doing, this plan that you're going to pull together, is moving you into the direction, moving your business, moving your marketing into the direction of the final outcome, to launch that program, to drive, to grow your email list, to drive engagement in your community. All of these things are going to take place, and you want to make sure that each one of these steps has the ability to measure its effectiveness. So when you're writing out your list, don't just put a list of, I'm going to step here, step here, step here. Make sure that each one of those steps gives you some sort of measurement so you know that you're on the right track. And number 6. So now we have our goals. We've got our brainstorm ideas. We have sketched out, planned out, worked out actionable steps to make sure that we can develop a plan. So number 6 is we start with this end goal, our final outcome. I want you to get out a calendar and work backwards. And you can do this calendar either on a paper calendar, if that's how you work. You can do it on a Google calendar, if that's how you work. There are several programs that actually, I think they're the time management programs that actually have calendars built into them that you can use. However you use it, it doesn't make a difference. It's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's just your way. And you want to make sure that you do this in a way that is very complementary to your work style. If you're a person that uses paper and likes to download printables on Pinterest, by all means, that's what you need to do. If you are a person who's a digital person, then go make sure that you've got everything set up, because the idea is not to create a process and a program that you're not going to use and that you're just going to find every excuse not to do it. So it's really important that when you get this calendar together, that it is set up in a way, whether it's digital, whether it's paper, or if it's a combination of both, either one, as long as it's the way that you work. And when you're breaking down your steps, you may even need to break the steps that you wrote down for step 5 into even smaller actions. So write out all of those action steps that you need to work on. Type them out, write them out on a piece of paper, create a note. I use Evernote, which I love Evernote, my checklists, a productivity tool. It doesn't matter what you use, just write it down. Put the plan together, put it in place. And if you need to break it down into Monday I'll do this, Tuesday I'll do this, Wednesday I'll do this, Thursday I'll do this, Friday I'll do this, Saturday I may do morning work. If you need to do it like that, if that's what will help you, then please do that. Because this is not going to help you achieve your goals if you don't have this plan in place and it's not written down someplace that you can always go back and make sure that you can measure your effectiveness and what's going on, and make sure that what it is that you're doing is indeed keeping you on track to reach those goals. And I want you to think about all of those things that you're going to put in your calendar. And I want you to block off the time. Block off the time in your calendar as you would for a client project or coaching session. Make these action steps, make these programs, these steps, these, all the words I want to use here, and it makes these steps, these actionable steps, an important priority in your calendar. Your business is just as important as working on a client project, as working through a client session, as doing anything else that you do. So block off that time in your calendar to actually work on this. to get you to where you're going to go. And number 7, regularly assess where you're challenged and review what is working. So as you are also mapping out time in your calendar, I also want you to schedule some time in that monthly calendar to review what's going on with your goals and your social sites, if that's how you're getting there. If it's not your social sites, it's your email list, the website pages, your page views of what's going on with Google Analytics. Because if you don't pay attention to what's going on, you'll just keep pushing forward and pushing forward and pushing forward. And there's a possibility that maybe something's not working and something just needs tweaking. So if you don't give yourself the time to make sure that you review and know what's moving forward, you're not going to be able to adjust your schedule when things aren't working. So I always block in at the very, very end of the month. So not only am I creating my content for the next month about what I'm going to be working towards, videos I'm going to produce, I'm working on some blog posts, I'm working on some social media stuff. I also spend some time running my numbers, reviewing everything what's going on my email, reviewing everything what's going on the social sites, reviewing what's going on with the work that I'm doing. Have I moved forward? Have I gone back? What's working? Where am I being challenged? And so that way I'm not 3-4 months down the road realizing, well, look at that. I guess that's not working. So I know within a month what's happening and where I'm being challenged. I may not be able to know 100%, if all of the numbers are adding up and everything is moving forward, because a lot of times you do need more than just a month to be able to determine the success of something. But I'm at least setting myself a foundation to be able to see, okay, this isn't working. I know I need to adjust. This is working. Maybe I can ramp this up a little bit more. And so when I think about this, I want you to think about it from the sense of the reviewing and really assessing it. Especially when you can do this over 3 months. I usually say, a 3-month time period, which is generally when I like to work with my clients over a 3-month time period, because usually the first month is always, us just getting started. The second month is really getting into it. But the third month will give you enough time to see a pattern about what's going on. You can see the content of your post connecting. Is it possible that what's happening, you can learn how to streamline these steps to get yourself more efficient? So what you're doing with that number 7, that step number 7, is making sure that you are on track to reach those goals. And when you are doing this, remember, it's just for you. This isn't something that you're going to be showing everybody. So be honest with yourself when things aren't working. Spend the time trying to tweak the copy or rework your images. And if you're seeing your content or your live stories, resonating with your community, assess those as well. It's not just about what's going badly. What else is going good? What can you expand on with this idea or add to that content with a blog series? Or maybe you can start testing out TikTok or something like that. What's really working to reach your goal? So this assessment, step 7, is not just the assessment of something bad happening. It's also the assessment of the good things that are happening. But I want to caution you, I want to caution you when it comes to this part of it. I want you to be careful when you are reviewing your options and your opportunities as you're moving through these 7 steps. Because sometimes when we do get so wrapped up in our goals, we kind of overanalyze what we're doing in our sites. You log into your Google Analytics looking for answers instead of making the decision about what you want to work on. So how do you know if you've fallen down the research rabbit hole? When you're just trying to find the answers instead of trying to fix something and realizing that your strategy just isn't working. So let me tell you, folks, if you fall down the rabbit hole, how you can tell is you find yourself spending way too much time reading blog posts, watching videos, or worse, maybe you sign up to like a bunch of DIY online courses because you've convinced yourself that this one will be the quick fix that makes this stuff work. Because when you catch yourself in this place, just take some simple advice. Just make a decision. Just make a decision. Stop thinking about the perfect solution and just make a decision about what you want to work on and move forward with that plan. Because remember, your decision is not set in stone. It's just a direction for you to stop cycling all of this stuff in your head and keep you moving towards your goal. Because let me tell you, my friends, there is no such thing as a perfect strategy to reach your goals. If we look at social media, like changing every day, you will always be changing and shifting your strategy to keep up with what's new and what's changed. Accept the fact that you're just going to have to keep working, and you're going to move through this process to reach your goals, and you're going to be adjusting your plans. You are going to be working through your strategies, because there really isn't some secret formula that makes like a perfect social media post or the perfect social media image that always works. Social media marketing is not the place for perfection. Perfect is stressful. Perfect is time consuming. And perfect is not achievable. So you know what works? Consistency. Consistently posting to your social sites is a better strategy plan to reach your goal than worrying about perfection. Consistency is the key to a strong marketing strategy. Consistency is what works. And consistency and going through all 7 of these steps is a better plan, a better strategy to help you reach your goals than worrying about perfection. So thank you so much for joining me today with this creative process. If you've enjoyed this content about creativity, I hope you'll consider subscribing to this channel, because it's more than just understanding how to create better content. It's about understanding that the success of your business isn't going to happen to you, that you're not going to reach your goals because it's going to happen to you. You're going to reach your goals because it's going to happen because of you. And if you would like to learn more about developing your own marketing strategy, the link is below to subscribe to the Create Your Business program. You will get more content like I talked through in today's video. You will get a monthly interactive workbook that will show up in your inbox. And then you'll have creative tools that will show up at your front door. And together, the workbook and those creative tools are going to show you how to develop your content marketing plans in a new way to ensure that you, my friend, never run out of content ideas again. You are magnificent. And let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time.